What was Tom Bombadil doing during the war against Angmar? Is a question you've probably not asked yourself, even if you're into Tolkien. Maybe you have, but it's a funny place my brain ended up a while ago, and it's perfect, therefore, for Tolkien trivia, where I talk about weird side areas of the Middle Earth legendarium. So basically, the question that came to mind was, okay, so Tom Bombadil, as far as we know, has been in these woods near the Old Forest or thereabouts for a very long time, and what is it? 1400 years before the time of the Lord of the Rings, there's a war where the human kingdoms in the north are basically finally destroyed at first, but then the Witch King of Angmar, who is one of the Ringwraiths, the leader of the Ringwraiths, who was eventually slain by Eowyn, he is defeated and driven from Angmar, and though there's great darkness and corruption in the north due to his presence, and though his former presence, and though there's no longer a great human kingdom there, descended from Isildur, nonetheless there is more safety, more peace, and interesting story. It'd be a natural topic for any worthwhile follow-up series, imagine that. But what struck me was that Bombadil and the Witch King seem to cross over here. Now, Googling this led me to no results. Sometimes you get kind of funny, no useful results. Sometimes you get funny bits from letters, or a bit of the appendix you've never really thought about before, the appendices of Lord of the Rings, or History of Middle-earth notes. All it gave me was the satirical theory that Bombadil is the Witch King of Angmar. And there's very quick... I don't think anyone seriously believes this, but in case anyone did, there's both textual evidence, if nothing else, the fact that Elrond remembers Bombadil from a long time ago, before any other power was really going in this area of Middle Earth, or again, the fact that he is first and fatherless, the fact that the ring has no power over him, things like this. It also gets in the way of his literary purpose as a figure of virtue, as a man who is master of himself and needs to be master of nothing else. Just to dismiss that little one, that was not what he was doing during the war against Angmar. He was not leading the forces of Angmar. But it seems worth thinking about what he would have done, because, what happens if there was an invasion of the Barrow Downs, battles in and around Cardolan, that area. What if some orcs came to his door? That sort of thing. Did he serve? Did he join the forces of Cardolan in their last stands in that region? And I think the answer is no. This is an easy one in a sense. No, he didn't fight. No, he didn't join any armies. We have no reason to think he would. Partly because he has it seems, this great figure of private virtue and contentedness in his domestic life, has no great idea of the world beyond what he is meant to be doing in it. Which is not seen as a bad thing. It's not seen as him being close-minded or parochial, but rather as someone who knows how to keep himself to himself. And this is from the Council of Elrond. We hear, I should have summoned him. This one, Eowyn Ben-Adar, we called him, oldest and fatherless, says Elrond. He's called Fawn by the dwarves, Orald by northern men, and other names beside. Perhaps I should have summoned him. He would not have come, said Gandalf. Could we not still send messages to him and obtain his help? Asked Arestor, it seems he has a power even over the ring. No, I should not put it so, said Gandalf. Say rather that the ring has no power over him. He is his own master, but he cannot alter the ring itself, nor break its power over others, etc., etc. And now he's withdrawn into a little land within bounds that he has set, though none can see him, perhaps waiting for a change of days, and he will not step beyond them. And could he not keep the ring? Arestor says, no, not willingly. He might do so if all the free folk of the world begged him, but he would not understand the need, because he doesn't get why anyone wants control over everything using a magic ring. And if he were given the ring, he would soon forget it, or most likely throw it away. And Glorfindel then comments that actually eventually even Bombadil would fall if everything else fell to the Dark Lord. Bombadil, who is perhaps a spirit of the land, perhaps a representation of Eru's creative power, all these sort of potential theories. He's in some way bound to good creation, to pure creation. The reason he is now withdrawn into a little land by the Old Forest is because the Great Forest, Elrond has already mentioned, has been cut down. So I think we know that he wouldn't get why everyone's fighting. He'd certainly give people refuge. Now, could he be killed? No, I don't think some orcs turning up could kill him. I think if the land were thoroughly defiled, Bombadil would disappear. That seems to be Glorfindel's implication. But what we know is that he can control natural creatures, so, badgers. I'm talking here about the Adventures of Tom Bombadil, the poem, not from Lord of the Rings. They are one of the he also in the sequel Bombadil Goes Boating, where he goes off to see Farmer Maggot. He can command birds. He seems to have power over normal animals. He has power over awakened trees or Huorns or something, whatever Old Man River is taken to be. Old Man River, Old Man Willow. And he has control over the Barrow-wights, and this is the most interesting thing, because the Barrow-wights, we learn in the appendices, are sent into the tombs of the Princes of Cardlan by the Witch King of Angmar. They are fell spirits. They are perhaps either some of those strange numinous creations or failed creations we hear about occasionally, the nameless things at the bottom of the mountains, or perhaps they are corrupted, broken Maiar, like the Balrogs are. They seem too weak to be that, but you can see the sort of line I'm going on. Perhaps they're corrupted nature spirits, if we take Goldberry to be a nymph, a nature spirit. So they corrupt and animate these bodies. The spirits of the Princes of Cardlan have gone beyond the circles of the world. They are quite safe wherever they are, if it is a safe place they've gone to. But the corpses are animated by evil spirits. But Bombadil can just tell them to go away, go back to sleep, and rescues the hobbits from them. So I don't think there's any danger in ordinary terms of Bombadil being harmed, not even attacked. I think because he is, he is at some level certainly the representation of the music of the Aina, even if he is not himself the music of the Aina. That's a popular theory, in the sense that he is ever singing, ever rhyming, even within prose sections, and he embodies Tolkien's use, and I talk about this in my video about the poetry in the Lord of the Rings, and my Bombadil video, my main one, where he embodies the way that poetry, verse, mimics God's, Eru's, ordering behaviours and natures in creation. And music is always used, virtually always, as a symbol of hope and order in the Lord of the Rings. Less so in The Hobbit, where it's more often is used in more contexts. But yes, so I think because he is ever singing, he is not going to be surprised. He's always having an ordering effect. Of course, if everything had fallen, then he too would have fallen, we hear. But I think, barring that, he would have been quite safe, quite useless to the free forces, except as a refuge, as he is a refuge for the Ringbearer. Bombadil, at 2 points, helps save the world by rescuing Frodo from Old Man Willow and from the Barrow-wights. And the Barrow-wights, particularly as active allies or servants, ultimately of the Dark Lord, cannot be said to have been a trustworthy receptacle for the ring. Bombadil aids the forces of good, is a friend of the forces of good, wishes good to all men and women of goodwill, and so could well have helped. One might imagine that the fleeing men of Arthedain who've seen Fornos destroyed, hobbits maybe surviving from that company of archers who go to help the king and never return, might have found refuge there if they could have made it. Perhaps some of them did make it. We can imagine, given that men of the north know him as Orold and dwarves know him as Fawn, that perhaps he did serve as a safe refuge at that point. It leads us into impossible to answer questions like, when did he marry Goldberry, and was she there, and did they have a house there in the way they do in Lord of the Rings, which are truly into the point Tolkien makes in the letters, that there are mysteries in the world that are not to be solved. But I think we can say we know how Tom Bombadil would have interacted with the war against Angmar, and you can imagine him then perhaps with his bright blue jacket and his yellow boots, singing as he chases off some orcs or something, or perhaps even his song chills the heart of the Witch King of Angmar from afar, knowing that the magic is too strong to enter Bombadil's land, as some lost Prince of Arthedain flees there, perhaps to have a great etc. Grandson called Aragorn, son of Arathorn. Anyway, not a particularly exciting and mystery solving one today, but just one that nudged me and I thought some people might find interesting. Tell me your theories and what other great events Tom Bombadil might have actually stumbled across the edge of in Middle-earth history. Till next time.